Love Thy Self. Such a great journal. It is all around self-love, self-compassion, self-care, self-esteem, self, me. And for people who are used to doing everything for everybody, this may seem something like the last thing on your list to work on, but it should be the first thing. It should always be about you filling up your tank and your bubble before you can give to anyone. The whole concept of this is around the oxygen mask theory. So what do they tell you on an airplane? If in any danger, then you need to take the oxygen mask first, and you always must put it on yourself first before you give it to anyone, whether it be children or elderly or someone in need. You have to give the oxygen to yourself first. That is because you need it to then be able to help everyone else effectively. That's the same concept with life. We need to be able to giving ourselves that oxygen and love first. And what happens is we tend to give it all out and then we have nothing left. So this is about going in, making sure that we are filled, and then we can actually help more people. So the Love Thy Self Workbook starts there. It starts with that very concept about that self-love and also about rebuilding your self-worth. What is self-worth? What do we and how do we work on it? How do we receive effectively? Most of us are great givers, terrible receivers. And this is all around, how to ask for help, how to ask for what you want, and also to identify any areas of self-worth that we need to work on that we didn't actually know was there. Next is an exercise about building confidence. This is all around building authentic power. And this is all around detaching your own self-worth from being conditional based on an aspect of your life going well. So, whether your work is going well, or whether your finances are going well, or whether people think you're smart or pretty, or your body, or whatever it is, it's about detaching who you are from the very concept of you needing to be a certain thing in order for you to feel worthy enough. So often in life, we have holes in our heart that we then fill up with all these things to make ourselves feel better. So it's identifying what we attach ourselves to, what we attach our self-worth to, and then being able to refill up those holes and not needing these things in our life. Although there's nothing wrong with liking all of this stuff in our life and wanting this stuff, but it's about that need and the attachment to it in order for us to feel better as human beings. So it's about cutting that cord, cutting that attachment, identifying what it is that those are, and then how do you rebuild your self-worth. And it's really great exercise in there, exactly how to do that, going in with an affirmation and also talking about how valuable you actually are. We then go into curing comparisonitis, which is all around, we compare ourselves each and every day. I talk about there's another disease in town, and it's comparisonitis, and it can be quite dormant, and then all of a sudden rear its head, and you think, oh my gosh, where did that come from? And it can be something that keeps us from going after our goals or holds us back. And so when we see what we're doing in terms of comparing ourselves to other people, comparing ourselves to other people, then and how we do that and how much we do that, whether we make ourselves better than people or we think that we're not as good as people, it can work on either way. And it talks about that in terms of a inferiority complex or a superiority complex, and it works your way through onto how to actually move yourself out of that habit of comparisonitis to something where you're more in control of looking at your race rather than looking at everyone else's. And it's something that's easy to say, but can be hard to do. We then go into the next chapter, which is on comfort zones. Now, when we start working on ourselves, we have to identify where we're staying very secure. So security, and especially to givers, is something that we need to feel safe. We don't like sort of going out too far in terms of our comfort zones. We don't like to feel like we have that the uncertainty in life. And what happens is when we touch our comfort zones, it can make us feel uncertain, and we can kind of retract back. And we have to see that the differences between us growing and us staying still is being able to overcome and move through some of our comfort zones. We talk about comfort zones being the way in which we gain our confidence, and how easy it is to actually penetrate through that comfort zone wall. But what happens is we sort of feel some negative emotions every time we touch the comfort zone, and it makes us like, retract back in. But if we just push through it a little bit, we're actually on the other side of that comfort zone, and it's incredible how much growth and how much confidence it really does help us with. So have a look through that chapter, and it's really good at being able to encourage you to work through those comfort zones. And we then go through to the successful you. Successful you is looking at self-acceptance. How do I love myself, my past, who I am, and then how do I project myself into the future and look at who I want to be, and what does that look like for myself? How does that best person, how do they think, how do they act, and how do they communicate? How do they feel? Once I know that, then I can start to become that person. And the reason why we do self-acceptance first, it's to say that who you are is as good as the person that you want to be, but potentially the person that you want to be is going to help you towards your goals of whatever it is that you're looking to achieve. So it's not saying, oh, I'm this person and that's terrible and I need to change. It's saying, oh, this is who I am, but my goals are going to call for me to have something else. So maybe, you don't like public speaking and you need to gain your confidence in that area. You need to then see yourself as being that confident person who can speak in front of people who, that typically maybe not you at the moment. 6th pillar, all around self-love, and this is around finding your own self-love language. So you've heard of love languages for in relationships. This is now your love language for yourself. So making sure that you love yourself, being able to give yourself the love language that you would require from someone else, and looking at exactly how you can do that. The final thing and chapter is all around self-compassion and kindfulness. And kindfulness really is a new mindfulness, which is how do I be kind? How do I treat myself with the kindness that I would just so easily give to someone else without even thinking about it? Most of the time we berate ourselves, almost like tell ourselves off like it was a parent in some sort of way, instead of being kind and compassionate, which we would so easily do for someone else. So this is about letting go of the inner critic and forgiving yourself and loving yourself and being able to talk to yourself like you would someone who you just, a friend. At the end, there's a self-love challenge. So being able to give yourself everything that you need over a period of time, making sure it becomes a habit. So there's a 5-day challenge there at the end, and of course a lot of inspired notes for you to write in when you have inspiration or things that you would like to just write down that you resonate with as well. So there you go. All the best on the Love Thyself journey.